This is the Tripltek 8, an 8-inch Android tablet that's dustproof, splashproof, dropproof, and has a 1200 nit display. How good is it for drones? That's what we're gonna find out. Hey, my name is Jake and I create content here to help solo creators on the go. So I do lots of drone, camera, lens reviews, and tips and tutorials on how to use them. So if that's something that interests you, consider subscribing. Today we're talking about the Tripltek 8, but first, disclaimer. In full transparency, Tripltek did send me this tablet for review, but I'm not being compensated in any other way. They don't get to see this video or have any input to it before it's released, so these are my opinions about using this tablet for the last few weeks. Before we jump into my thoughts and general experience about using this tablet to fly drones with, I'm going to jump in and go through some of the specs really quick because lots of you I'm sure would want to know the specs, and if I get any of them wrong, a bunch of you will comment about how I was wrong, and obviously I don't know what I'm doing, so hopefully this will mitigate that because I actually have them on my phone. But it's a 8-inch 1200 nit Android tablet that has a 2560 by 1600 pixel display. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of built-in storage, plus you can put an SD card in there, which will give you a lot more storage because I think you could use up to a 1 terabyte SSD card. Not SSD, micro SD card. And you can get a SIM card and get 4G LTE in here if you want to, 4G or LTE. It's waterproof and dustproofed up to IP68, which I can't remember exactly what that means, but that means it's pretty good splash resistant. However, when you have it plugged into your remote, because you open this tab, it's not totally waterproof and dustproof then, so be aware of that. You can't go fly this from underwater, or can't use this underwater if you've got it plugged into something. Octa-core and 3D ready GPU. It has a 12,200 milliamp hour battery, which means you get tons of battery life out of this. I've gone for, I don't know, basically a full day, like 5 hours of flying, and had the battery last that entire time. The rear camera here is 21 megapixels with autofocus. The front camera is 8 megapixels. Wi-Fi, GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, Beidou, and Bluetooth, and NFC. And it weighs 1.3 pounds. I want to cover some of the strengths, then we'll go through some of the weaknesses in just a little bit. But first off, this thing has a really beautiful bright display at 1200 nits. It's really easy to see outside, even on bright days like this, or bright sunlit days when I've been filming in other places. It's been nice to use this because the video feed is really clear, it's bright, easy to see, even without a sunshade. It's just been a real joy to fly with because of how bright and how big the display is. And the thing is, the touchscreen part of this is really well implemented. It responds very well to touch. It makes it really easy to get exactly what you want, not what you don't want, because I've had issues with that with the iPhone before, just because the display is so small, and especially if I'm flying with gloves, it makes it harder to pinpoint exactly what I want to change. I have not had that issue with this particular device at all. And the battery life on this is phenomenal. At 12,200 milliamp hour battery, this thing has lasted forever. Like, I've gone out and shot basically for an entire day when I was in Montana shooting for a TV show and didn't have to recharge this once. Had it on full brightness pretty much the entire day, and it worked perfectly the entire time. Another big strength of this is its durability. Obviously, it's splash-proof and dust-proof when all the ports are sealed. Not when they're not sealed, but when they're sealed, it's splash-proof and dust-proof. And it's drop-proof from, I think, up to 4 meters. Which means this thing will handle some serious abuse. Good for me when I'm out in places hiking around and doing stuff like that. And the other thing that makes this nice is if I were to throw it in the snow, it'd be fine. Pull it out, dust it off, no problem. But a huge strength of this for me is that this battery and this tablet last really long, even in temperatures like this, which right now it's about, I don't know, 15 degrees. Feels much colder because the wind is blowing, but this has had no issues performing even down around 0 degrees Fahrenheit, which both the equivalent Celsius degrees will be on the screen down below, but this has worked really well in the cold. Now, from what I've seen from other people, it works really well in the heat. Even at full brightness, your iPhone, typically they will shut off pretty early on when they start to get hot or when they start to get cold because they just can't handle it. But this has had none of those issues, and from what I've seen in other places in warm climates, which I'm not in a warm climate, this has had no issues with overheating, even at full brightness in sun on a hot day. It just keeps on trucking and going just fine, which is a testament to how well built this thing is. Another huge strength of this tablet is that you can use it with the DJI Go 4 app. So previous generation drones, the Inspire 2, the Phantom 4, the Mavic 2 Pro, Mavic 2 Zoom, all those drones, because it supports the DJI Go 4 app, you can use it with the DJI Fly app, which means all of the newer drones, the Mini 2, the Air 2S, the Air 2, the Mavic 3, if you just got that. And you can use it with third-party apps like Lychee, Drone Deploy, all of those. Anything that runs on a Tripltek or on an Android tablet will work on this. So that's a huge plus for this thing because you can run it in a lot of different situations, and you can run it with autel drones or skydio or anything that will run on an Android tablet. You can fly with this. So if you fly a lot of different types of drones, this is excellent and fantastic for that. And while there were a lot of complaints about the Tripltek 7 tablet, it struggled to play 4K video, had other issues like 64-bit apps versus 32-bit apps, things like that. All of those problems, all the problems that I've seen online seem to have been fixed with this because I haven't been able to recreate any of them. This thing has worked pretty much flawlessly for me the entire time that I've been using it for the last 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. It's been really fun. And of course, another huge strength of this thing is that it is not just a controller for a drone, whereas the Smart Controller or the RC Pro is limited to just a controller for a drone. This is an Android tablet, so you can use it to stream things like this guy on the internet who puts videos on YouTube about drones and cameras and lenses and stuff. And not only can you stream things, but you can also get a SIM card if you have a cell phone plan and use this as a phone. Hello? Yeah, that'd be kind of weird. Don't do that probably, but you can get a connection plan with this, which means you can be connected to 4G or LTE, and of course it has Wi-Fi, so it just has a lot of versatility as far as how you can use this. Beyond just flying drones, this is a full-fledged Android tablet, so you could use it to write scripts or to bring information with you if you need to remember information. It's, yeah, very, very, very handy. Now I've covered mostly the strengths and the things that I've really enjoyed about this thing so far. It's been a lot of fun, but there are a few things you need to be aware of. One, it comes with a screen protector that's a matte screen protector. I had it on there for a while because I wanted to try it out. Then I took it off because I didn't really like it. I prefer the non-matte look anyway. Yeah, not a huge deal, but you know, if you want a screen protector, I think Tripltek are the only ones you can get a screen protector from for this device, but that's one maybe sort of downside. And then another thing that I found that was kind of a little bit of weakness. I mean, it is a little bigger, a little heavier. Of course it is. It's a tablet. It's not a phone. And because it's a little bigger and a little heavier, it might make it a little bit awkward for you to hold onto the remote and fly your drone, depending on how you're used to holding a remote. I didn't find it was that big a deal. Even filming on a TV show for a few hours a day, it wasn't a big deal to me. It's really easy to set down that way. And of course, the last downside is the price. Coming in at $800, it's not inexpensive. And yeah, it's kind of expensive. It is $400 cheaper than the new RC Pro. It's also about the same price as the original Smart Controller, a little more expensive than that. But you do get a few benefits with this over something like the RC Pro or the original Smart Controller. And one is that this is compatible with the DJI Go 4 app and the Fly app, as well as if you fly something like autel drones or the Skydio drones. Anything that has an Android app that will run on Android 10 will run on this tablet, and that makes it really useful if you fly some of the older generation DJI drones, including the Inspire 2 and the newer DJI drones, or drones from other manufacturers like autel and skydio. You can run them all off of this tablet, which is pretty nice. And yeah, might make it worth it for you. It might not. Now, I do run the Smart Controller for my Mavic 3 or the RC Pro, the new Smart Controller. But I've also run it with this, and it flies really well. I even tested this on the Air 2S, which is most of what you've seen today, and it ran great. I ran this with the Mavic 2 Pro on the DJI Go 4 app. It ran great on that. If you want to see other accessories that work great with drones, click or tap right there. I put together a small playlist. I'll see you in one of those videos. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below, or you can join my live stream Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I will see you again soon in the next video. Just have a few miles to hike out in the cold. Cheers.